So oftentimes, people they get attracted to you based on their career. So being in healthcare, a lot of people that come around me are um, being nurses, be it student nurses or nursing students, medical students, even professionals come around. And then I've seen my contemporaries to also come around. So in terms of career, lately I've also been seeing life coaching as well. And
there are steps for you to take. The coach have a responsibility, but you also have a responsibility on your part. If you don't play your part, don't complain later that it doesn't work. So for this reason, I think it is important that people understand that if you want it to work, you need to take action. If you don't take action, nothing is going to. It will be like yesterday,
there's a saying that you better prepare yourself, for opportunities or for any challenges that come your way. So this is a very good challenge, for me, right? So this is great, right? So when it comes to coaching, mentorship, it's not limited to one aspect of one's life, right?
Thank you for checking out Obehi Podcast. We encourage people to own their story and share it with the world to expand their purpose. Before we start this presentation, I have something to quickly share with you. Are you a purpose-driven entrepreneur? Do you want to cut across the noise and attract your ideal client by leveraging your own story? Then pay attention. I have a signature program that can help you own your story. A 5-step transformative journey to reshape your professional and business narrative for success in less than 90 days. And it's available at academy.aclasses.org/story. This is what we have understood. Storytelling is the most powerful instrument known to man. And this is what that could mean to you. You can either own your story and use it to advance your purpose in your business and professional life, or someone else will do. The choice is yours. Now let's get started with today's episode of the Obehi Podcast.
So good morning. My name is Adeola Folorunso. I'm a registered nurse. I've been nursing for over 14 years. I consider myself a global health advocate that loves to impact knowledge and also be able to impact life across the spectrum.
All right. Super, Adeola. Thank you so much for that. Now, what we do here in Obehi Podcast is that we tend to pay attention to your story, where you are coming from, because that is particularly important for us. You are currently connected from Canada, but is that where you were born or maybe some other place?
I was actually born in Nigeria, and I relocated to Canada in 2011 to have my education, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, and my master's as well. And I've been working, got married, had my children there, and just started life in Canada.
All right. That's lovely. And because, like I said, we are trying to know you better, what do you remember of yourself growing up in Nigeria? Tell me a bit about what you see around yourself and also your growing up, your experiences. Please share with me.
So back in Nigeria, I lived around people that are very pushing in the sense that they want the best out of life. So they're not laid back set of people, right? People that are always wanting to be better every time. So I believe that's one of the things that's made me go through this topic of mentorship that we're about to discuss, right? So that experience of always wanting to be better than you want your yesterday to be better than you want your today to be better than your today is an experience that I can never forget.
All right. So how did you get into coaching? Because now you've got this mindset, where the people you were living around with in Nigeria sort of help you to develop this mindset or always becoming a better version of yourself, which is something really very important. So how did you get into coaching? Tell me a bit about that.
So basically, with coaching, I would say I was born into it. And so when you're born into something, you naturally just pick it up, right? You see the people around you do it, you observe them, you watch them, and then it becomes part of you. It's just like culture, a way of life. So coaching becomes, over time, a way of life for me because I was actually baptized into it, born into it, baptized into it, and then perform going along in mentorship. With coaching experience, what I've seen is that there has to be passion. It is a two-way approach, right? It's not unidirectional. And so when it comes to coaching, it has to be two ways, right? Meaning one person has the passion wanting to be coached, and the other person has the interest to coach the other person or to mentor the other person. So it's a transactional way of or an approach of making the other person a better version of who they are.
And what exactly are you coaching on? What is the people that are coming to you for coaching?
So oftentimes you people they get attracted to you based on their career. So being in healthcare, a lot of people that come around me are um, being nurses, be it student nurses or nursing students, medical students, even professionals come around, and then I've seen my contemporaries to also come around. So in terms of career, lately I've also been seeing life coaching as well, and
So
people have
you
been
do a kind
coming
of
for that.
marriage coaching?
I don't call myself a marriage counselor, but I've seen that happen often and often. People have been
Mhm.
coming actually, and in fact, 5 days from now, I'm going to be talking about something around marriage. I was being called for that, so it's coming, and I don't know why that is, but people that have come, I've seen the impact of that, and they keep coming, and then they tell other people. So I better pay attention to that
All
as
right,
well
that's
for
interesting. So
myself.
tell me through that. What the people that are coming to you for marriage coaching, what are they looking for?
There's a lot of particular factor that might be responsible for why people come to you, right? And what I've seen a lot of time is stress, right? And what I've seen too is that the people who come for that aspect of coaching, which is the marriage part of it, are people within the 5 years of marriage. They're still trying to get their bearing, right? And for me, I've been married for 12 years. So the experience is there. So they want me to give them some skills, right? But there are no two same way of doing things, but they could actually learn from my own experience. It doesn't have to be the particular way I do it, but the learning, the experience itself is what they appreciate.
All right. Now, from your experience, could you say maybe there are some maybe reason why some people are sort of passing through that stress in marriage? Okay, now you being married for like 12 years, you already have gotten a lot of experience to share with people. But both based on your experience as a married person for over 12 years, and also because you are coaching people, now meaning that you have also have studied about the problem that are facing people. So what can you share about why people or married people might be going through some stress, maybe in their marital life?
I think the world itself is under stress. There's a lot of it's globally. There's stress all over the place. Stress in economy, stress in place of work, stress with relationships, stress with families. So there's stress everywhere, right? And unfortunately, we take immunization for flu, right? But there is no immunization for stress. There is no vaccination, so we are not immune against stress. So that means is that what we have to learn is um, how we can resolute stress, meaning conflict resolution, right? So I wish there was a vaccination for that, but unfortunately there is none. So we better learn how to manage that. Just because globally everywhere is stressed up.
Mhm. All right, that's so true. That's so true. There are a lot of challenges that people are facing today that can sort of lead to stress. So, what type of stress do you see people facing more because of the people that are coming to you, and also what you are gathering as information within your area of expertise? Because now you're going to coach people. So, what are some of the type of stress you've seen people face it through, and that are see people pass it through in their marital life?
Okay, this is very interesting. What I've seen that is actually outstanding, where there are different type of stress and there are a lot of stressors, meaning the causes of stress. But from my own experience, when people come to me, it's been more of the mental part of it. And unfortunately, um, it is mental and not physical. The physical, people around can see that there's something going on, but mentally, people cannot see that. But what they do see sometimes is when you start exhibiting some things that is way above the norm, right? So I would say more of the mental part. And before it starts to exhibit, for people to start seeing that, there has been a lot of battles within going on in that person, actually, right? So more of the mental part, which is even the most dangerous and most difficult part, actually.
Okay. And when you want to recommend something to them, a kind of, because now at the end of the day, there need to be solution. What do you usually will recommend to them? Or maybe now let's put it this way. For people that are listening to you now, some of them are also married people. Maybe they are going through the type of stress that you have made mention of. So what do you tell them as a solution? What should they do? How should they overcome some of these challenges? Because, okay, now some of them might not be able to come to you for coaching, but they might still benefit from what you're saying. Or why not? They can reach out to you because these days, everything is done digital, in digital form, no? Because me, I'm living in Italy, but you are living in Canada, and we're able to communicate now. I could actually be a coachee of yours, so that even though I'm not there in Canada, you can also coach me. So another person that might be listening to you now, maybe in US or in Nigeria or in Germany, can also benefit from your coaching. So, but anyway, let's give them some kind of free tips. What do you recommend to them as a solution?
I think the first thing is I would not even use the word I think. Assertively, I would tell the person to accept the fact that they are stressed. If you do not accept that something is wrong with you, then you might not seek for the help you need. So the first thing is to identify that you truly need help. And then when you identify that, meaning that you are able to bring that to your consciousness that there's something wrong and there is a need for solution. After you've done that, you have identified that I need help. The next thing is to sit down and actually do an assessment, which is called the root cause analysis, right? You want to know why that is happening. Because if you don't know what the cause of the stressor is, then you are not able to take off the stressor. So you want to know what is causing that. And then once you know what is causing that, then you can start to strategically work towards taking off that stressor so that you become a better person and mentally you become fit, right? Because according to the WHO, the definition of health itself, it's not just merely the absence of diseases, right? It looks at health itself, looks at the holistic point of view of human, the physical, spiritual, emotional, mental part, right? So you are healthy not just because you're sick, but there's more parts to being healthy, right? The mental part is also important. So there has to be a balance around that, right? And so you should be able to identify what that problem is, meaning the cause of the problem. So that really, really helps a lot. Once you know what the cause is, you might not even have to go to an expert once you know what the cause is for yourself. But peradventure, you do not know, you've identified the cause and you cannot help yourself. And that's when you kind of call in for people who are more experienced. You talk to people, a way of when you talk to people, you're ventilating out those stressors and they are able to see things objectively and guide you objectively to be able to come out of the stress
All
gradually.
right. Thank you so much for that. Now, as a registered nurse, is that in any way helping you in what you do, or is there a connection between your profession as a nurse and as a coach? Help me with that.
Yes, in healthcare itself, too, like I told you, every aspect in the world is filled with stress, right? But the thing is that when we hear the word stress, stress does not always mean something negative, right? Stress, it could be good because one of the ways people can push themselves and become a better person of themselves is some little amount of stress that is positive stress, right? But when it's becoming a danger, when it's affecting your productivity, then that's becoming more dangerous, right? And you're moving towards a danger zone, right? So in healthcare itself, the complexity that comes with healthcare could actually lead to stress. So healthcare providers too need to also find time to relax mentally and see if things are going properly and where they need to seek for help where needed to as well, because we're dealing with lives and we need the optimum part of our reasoning or coming with our A game, we meaning the perfect part of us to provide that quality care that our patients need. So it is very important that healthcare providers, and not just healthcare providers, in any profession, we need to be able to be mentally stable to be a better self and be able to provide that quality care that is needed.
All right, that is good. When you're talking of mental health now, this is something that is not even talked about a lot within the African diaspora community, even though a lot of people are passing through the stress, because we are human beings, just like every other person, but sometimes we don't talk about these challenges because, okay, we probably might have another way of justifying it, but sometimes when you are having mental health, we interpret it as a spiritual problem, superstition and all of that. Whereas maybe what we just need to talk to an expert who will be able to help us to figure out some of these things. So I don't know if this is relevant within your area of work.
Well, it will come to my attention because to start with, my cultural background, being an African, we don't joke with culture. We don't joke with what our belief system. And so a lot of times when things happen, not only do we think about the scientific cause of the problem, we also look at the spiritual cause of that problem as well. But what we tend to tell people is not to dwell too much on the spiritual part, because sometimes and most times it's not always spiritual, it's just the physical, and identifying that and going for the right treatment or to the right person to help you out. So we cannot take who we are from the definition of culture is the way of our lifestyle. It's a way of life. It's part of us. We can't take that away, right? It is biologically oriented to us. We can't take that away, right? So the spiritual part, we cannot blame people. It's not a blaming game, but we want to tell them that look beyond that and seek for help, and in terms of evidence-based help or practices, such that you do not stop yourself from getting the help you need, all because of your belief system that could actually be a barrier to getting the breakthrough that you need.
Your coaching program, is it limited to stress and mental health, or are there also other area that you are also focusing on? Could you expand on that? Could you help us understand that?
Actually, this is very different. This is very funny because this conversation is taking a different direction, which is great. Which is great, right? There's a saying that you better prepare yourself, for opportunities or for any challenges that come your way. So this is a very good challenge, for me, right? So this is great, right? So when it comes to coaching, mentorship, it's not limited to one aspect of one's life, right? There are different aspects. So, like I told you, I have seen nursing students, medical students, professionals, and then interestingly, like I earlier mentioned, marriage, mental health. So it's all aspects that I've seen that people have come for help. And I'm not surprised though, because when we look at the makeup of human, right? We're not just one aspect. There are different aspects to us that make up who we are. So it could be mentorship or coaching could come in different direction actually. So same thing for me. It's not limited, but the same principles applies actually when it comes to the breakthrough that people need or the solution that is needed or way to navigate or manage whatever it might be. So basically, because I'm a healthcare personnel, right, I would say, yeah, come to me if you are needing that aspect of coaching. But I'm not limited in that aspect because knowledge itself, when it comes to coaching, should not be limited, right? But like I said, same principle. But anybody could come around, and when I mean anybody who's prepared to be a better person or wanting to be a better version of who they are should actually lead mentorship. And the reason is because I so much subscribe to the philosophy of Isaac Newton when he stated that I have seen further than others meaning that it means that I have been, because he has been standing upon the shoulders of giants. That's what Isaac Newton said then. He sees further than where he is, sees further than his horizon because he's leaning on the shoulders of others, right? And those giants that he's actually referring to are mentors, right? Is that mentee is able to stand upon the shoulder of those giants, which is the mentor. So when a mentee stands on the shoulder of giants, which is the mentor, they can see better. So I'm willing to be that giant to anyone who is willing to see better and who wants to be a better person or be a better version of who they are.
All right, super. Now, how do you pick your mentees? Are you a mentor to anybody, or are you looking for specific people who will need your mentorship? Are there some criteria through which you maybe select those you can mentor?
Personally, I'm a very classic person. I'm very selective. And so that also dictates the kind of people that come to me. So I cannot stop people from coming to me, right? But I can stop them. What I can do is to selectively choose who the people that I want. So when it comes to how do I choose my mentee, the first thing is that when somebody comes to me, I don't send them away. But there are things that I will tell them to kind of help them to redefine what they need if I am actually the best person or the best fit or the best mentor for themselves. So the first thing is that, what are your goals? What are you trying to achieve? I want to know that. And when it comes to that goals, I tend to use more of the SMART goals. Is it's, specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. So I want to see what your goals are. If your goal is to become a musician, I'm not the right person for you right there because I'm not. But I can help you. I can navigate you to if I have friends who are good musicians, to help you out, right? So I look at what the goal of that person is or what their goals are and see if it matches my own skill set. If it does, that's superb, that's awesome. We roll. And if it's not, a mentor is also expected to help that person, even if you cannot help at that moment or you're not the best fit, to be able to recommend them within your own network. Because as a mentor, your network should be rich enough. It's not just within your own profession. You should have people from outside your own profession so that you can take ideas from different aspects of profession or different aspects of life to be a rich person mentally or cognitively. So I would rather just recommend that person to somebody else that could be of help. So the first thing is to make sure that the person comes with that goals, and then I assess that and I see if it actually matches my skill set before we can carry on.
All right. Thank you so much for.
So I'm not meant for everybody. That's what it means. But anybody can come to me. But we can screen that through the act of, identifying the goals that they need to
All
achieve.
right. So that you see whether the goal is actually aligning with your purpose.
That's
That
right.
is very important. That is a signature program that I'm currently working on. It's almost ready now. The program is actually aimed at purpose-driven entrepreneurs who are looking for a way to own their story and use it in what they are doing. The importance of that is that we are, of course, even in that program, we're not looking for everybody. If you are interested in the program, you need to do a kind of a test, which helps us to understand that we are the right fit for each other. Because even though it's a robust program, it's about 90 days to help you find your story, it's not for everybody. There are some people this program will not work for. So for this reason, you need to take the test to help us understand that, okay, we are the right fit for each other. Then, of course, we also know that if you are serious about it, because it's not just the money. Maybe you pay the money, that you don't do the job, you are not going to get the result. And then you start saying, oh, it doesn't work. It works if you make it work. And to make it work, you need to take action. You need to know that the layout of the program, there are steps for you to take. The coach have a responsibility, but you also have a responsibility on your part. If you don't play your part, don't complain later that it doesn't work. So for this reason, I think it is important that people understand that if you want it to work, you need to take action. If you don't take action, nothing is going to. It will be like yesterday,
That's right.
So I really think that it's important that we attract the right audience that we want to serve, because we cannot serve everybody. On the internet today, there is more than 5 billion people. So you cannot simply say, I'm looking for everybody. That would be a lie, no?
Mm-mm. One thing for sure that I've seen, even if you think at the onset you've chosen the right mentor, mentors are not written on gold, right? The act of choosing is not written on gold. If you saw that along the line, the mentor-mentee relationship is not aligned anymore with your goals, it's that's the perfect time to reassess things, and maybe it's a time to also choose again, right? So I just want to put the information out there that doesn't mean because from the beginning you chosen the right mentor, but as time goes on, maybe your goals changed or things change along the line, right? It doesn't mean you should be stuck to one particular mentor, right? For anybody who is willing or who is ready to invest in themselves, needs to do constant assessments of themselves, where they are, and see if they are making progress. And if there is barrier between the mentor and the mentee, that mentor or mentee has the right to choose or choose again, rather, right? To make sure that they are actually doing what is expected to meet those goals.
Thank you so much for that. Yeah, I appreciate that. Now, what does it even mean, mentorship? How do you describe that?
That's a very wonderful question, and that's what we're supposed to. Yeah. So mentorship itself, it's a protected relationship in which a more experienced person, right, guides or nurture the other person, right, or to make that the next person be a better generation, or the next generation to be better. So it looks at nurturing, it looks at guidance, right, and that usually comes from somebody who is more experienced or who has more knowledge or more insight of something, right? So there's a lot of roles that is tied to mentorship actually. If somebody asks if they need mentorship or if they need mentor, right? It's more or less as saying that, do I need to be a better version of myself, or should I get stuck, or should I be where I am? So if you want to be a better version of yourself, then the answer is yes. You need to be mentored, right? And one thing for sure is that when it comes to mentorship, is that mentorship has some elements to it, right? So it's guided by the principle of trust, empathy, active listening, sharing of experience, reflections, self-driven, and with clear understanding of the goal that needs to be achieved. So if you look at all that, the element itself, right, it's a pointer towards being somebody who is ready to be the best, right? Somebody who is ready to be that wants to add value to themselves and to the society. And so that leads to the advantages of the question you just asked, that when it comes to mentorship, one of the advantages is that it helps the individual to grow and to accomplish the goals that they've identified, right? And then also it helps that person to be able to fine tune their mission and vision for themselves. Because there are times where you are trying to get something done and you get stuck, right? But you don't have to be stuck before you're looking for mentor. I would recommend that anybody who wants to be a better version of themselves, like I've, emphasized over and over again, needs a mentor, irrespective of your career. So mentorship itself provides that psychosocial support, such as coaching, role modeling, offering that career support, right? It could be career, it could be in marriage, it could be in relationship, right? In different aspects. So if you ask me, do you need support? Do you want to be coached? Do you need somebody to put you to guide you through? I think somebody who wants to add value to the society should be saying yes to those questions, right? So it is very important that people should adopt mentorship. And it doesn't have to be formal. Like I said, we have all been born into an act of mentorship. That's the truth. From the day we are born, we are in the process of mentorship, right? Meaning that informal mentorship where our parents, our people we look up to, even without asking them to say, hey, mom, dad, sister, brother, friend, mentor me, right? We indirectly, unconsciously look up to these people, right? And that's one of the types of mentorship, which is informal mentorship, where we look up to them. I want to be like my dad, who's a medical doctor. I want to be like my mom, who's a lawyer. Things like that. It starts from there. And so we kind of like look at how they do things, and then we channel our own ways of doing in that line. So mentorship is very important. And that's one piece of it. But one part that I must mention, with all due respect, is mentorship for the youth. We understand the role of youth in the society. The youths they form the wealth of a nation. And we talk about youth empowerment. I'm sure you've heard about that a lot of time. Youth empowerment, youth empowerment. But the question is, what does that even mean, youth empowerment? One of the ways to empower youth is through mentorship, through selective mentorship, bringing the right set of people to be able to guide them to become the best in the society, or the best leaders, because the youth will be the leaders, the future leaders that we're looking into. And interestingly, there's some scientific findings or school of thought that have shown over time that the youth that actually went through mentorship, right? There's some facts that they found about them, that 46% of youth that went through mentorship, they are less likely to use illegal drugs. That's one of it. 46%. 27% are less likely to use alcohol. And more interestingly, 52% of youth that have gone through mentorship or they are into mentoring right now, they are more likely not to skip education or schooling. That is amazing, right? So it is very important.
Thank you so much
It
for
is
that.
very important that youth go through those mentorship process as well. So that's the aspect of the youth. What about the aspect of the adults? When I talk about the adults, I want to look at the aspect of immigration, right? There's been a lot of back and forth, according to the World Economic Forum, they said about, since the year 1970, the number of people moving away from their country, immigration, there has been about 3.5% of the population are immigrants, of the world population. So people are not actually where they were born. And so what that means is that you go into a different country and to start a new life. And these professionals go into a different country. What that means for them is that they will need to be mentored to be able to carry on, to be that better person or that better professional to survive in the new country where they are. So mentorship coming back again, irrespective of where you are or what phase you are in life, mentorship is needed. And so for every leader, I would recommend and I would say, I advocate that leaders need to be emotionally intelligent when they're dealing with immigrants, because the world globally, we need to adopt multiculturalism, and multiculturalism attracts mentorship. When we talk about multiculturalism, diversity, inclusion, mentorship is needed, because you want to support that new employee of yours coming from a different country. You want to be there for them. You want to guide them, because the ways of doing might be different, right? The culture shock that they might have to experience. And so it's not because they're not good enough. It's just because when we make a change from one country to another, there are expectations, and such people need to be mentored to become a better person in the new country that they find themselves.
And people are happy to have experts like you who are helping them to find their way around, particularly in a new country. So as you made mention of immigrants, that is an important point there to touch. All right. For you as a mentor, do you sometimes also have challenges helping people to fine-tune their own lifestyle? I mean, in your mentorship, do you pass through some challenges? Do mentors have challenges too?
Definitely, mentors are not They are not, in as much that they are superheroes, right? But they are not omniscients, meaning that they know it all, right? And so mentors could actually have challenges as well, but it could be navigated or well managed once you know what the mentee needs to achieve. So that it's very helpful. But there are times where you've done everything, you've gone through the documents of that person, you know what this person wants to achieve, it matches with your own skills or your own set goals, right? And you feel, oh yeah, I'm the right person for this person, right? But along the line, you're struggling. So because you're struggling, a mentor is also expected to have a mentor. It's a cycle. So you better be reaching out to experts who are more than you. Again, we're going back to the Eisenhut's philosophy of life, where I am a better person of myself because I'm leaning on the shoulder of giants. So when mentor gets stuck, right, they should also be able to reach out to their own mentors. It has happened to me before. When I was working as a director of care, I needed to make some decision. I have read through the policies. I needed to make a decision about a particular co-worker, actually. I've gone through policies, and again, policies are not written in gold. I have tried different aspects and I got stuck. And I said, what am I going to do? And actually wanted to make the right decision, give the right decision to my co-worker, to this particular co-worker. So what I did was to reach out to the provincial director, somebody of higher, you know, hierarchy, to reach out to the person. I say, hey, da 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 da. I have done this, I have done that, I've gone through policies, I have used so many things. In fact, I have even gone to my professor at school. This is not working. What can I do? Have you experienced this before? The truth is that for mentors, you should realize that there is no challenge that you're going through that your other people have not gone through, meaning the people ahead of you, right? So yeah, it was once I reached out and the person just laughed, like it was a funny way. Said, Adeola, I think I had a similar situation 5 years ago, so you're in the right place. And so I felt, yay, right? So I was so happy and excited. And she mentored me. She told me what I needed to do. So and I was able to go take that knowledge and utilize it to make the right decision for the person that, which is a coworker, also saw me as a mentor, right? So when you reach out to other people who are wiser than you, it gives you more value and makes you become smarter than who you are, and more you get more knowledge and information. So mentors are not omniscient and they are not expected to know it all.
All right. Now, for people that want to work with you, they want to be mentored by you, how can they reach out to you? Please share with them.
So there's an aspect of me. I own an NGO, non-government organization. It's called Matter Mental. So I am the founder of Matter Mental. Matter Mental was founded officially last year. But before Matter Mental was founded, I've always been mentors to many, right? And so I have a website. It's called mattermental.com. So you can go on my website. You can connect with me through my website, actually, where you can leave your information. I'll get an email from you. My phone number is there. Yeah, you can just go to the website. You'll find me on my website and then connect with me through my website, mattermental.com.
Now, what would be your final thought here to conclude the conversation of the day? Or maybe that is something else you wanted to say that I did not ask you, or maybe, I didn't just ask you the right way that you wanted it to be asked. So share with me, how do you conclude the conversation?
And actually, I love the way the conversation started. Maybe that's not the way I planned it, but I love that because I'm always open for challenges. So as mentors, be open. Yeah, so the final words that I actually want to put out there, and I call it a nugget, is that from the day we are born, we are into mentorship. That's where our mentorship started, which is the informal aspect, from our parents, from our friends, people that we trust so much. And then when you're going into mentor, you want to be mentored, you better be choosing the right mentor, be strategic and be selective. Choose mentors that are in alignment with your missions and vision, with your goals. And like I earlier mentioned, that mentorship or your mentor are not written on gold. You can always change your mentor, or the mentor can change the mentee if those missions and visions are not no longer needed or in alignment, right? So it is expected to do that. So you don't have to be stuck with one person, because there are a whole lot of people in the community or in the society who are doing just amazingly well when it comes to mentor mentee relationships. So reach out to other people that can help you. And also, like I said, it's just to buttress the initial point, is to reassess and change mentors if it's no longer serve the purpose. Also, when it comes to, and this is a message for the mentee should remain teachable, remain humble, and be grateful even after you think you now have more knowledge than your mentor. I mean, the joy of every mentor is to see their mentee do better than them over time. That is an art of, success. That means successful passing of knowledge, right? So even when you think you now have more knowledge and understanding or more opportunities than your mentor, still keep it humble, remain grateful, right? Because we've seen a lot of times where people would say, oh, okay, oh yeah, I know you used to be my mentor, but now I have moved on. I'm better off than you. You don't do that, right? So in life, we should be able to give, we should be grateful, right? Keep that attitude of humility ongoing when it comes to that. And be thankful, be appreciative, like I earlier said, because, they make us, these mentors have actually helped us, molded us to become a better version of who we are. They've made us to discover ourselves. But more importantly, mentorship, as long as human exists, mentorship would forever be there.
Thank you very much. It has been a pleasure talking with you.
You're welcome.